Hello, trading has closed on the 5th of November 2025. And as always, we'll start with our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls and then make our predictions. This is my trading plan for Thursday, the 6th of November 2025, but I'm busy this week and I won't be doing any trading, so I'm not going to be risking my own money on any of these calls. And even if I were, I can be wrong and I can change my plan, so please, any trade you make should be made at your own risk. Also, I have not had very much time at all to analyze things today. Look for the pattern today with the early high. We got that, and tomorrow also has the early high. That's what we said. I don't think the decline's over. That doesn't tell us what happens next day. Noise you hear in the background are my grandchildren, and that's going to be true for this week, I think. Well, we said that this was an important line for us. We had this wall with gap pattern. We said there's support under the wall, and that if we could gap and promptly overtake this, then the support would hold and we could rally. But if we did anything less, that was resistance, and we should have a straight line drop. Now, we said this when the market was down 50 handles. By the time the market opened, those 50 handles have been recovered, and very soon after within the first 10 minutes, we overcame this line and that held. So support has held here. Support's right under this wall with gap pattern. So I think the idea had some justification, but it wasn't a gap, so I can't really take credit for the execution of the idea. We'll just say that instead of gapping over this line, we traded over it within 10 minutes. And sometimes that's all you're going to do. Just don't give yourself credit when you didn't say it happened within 10 minutes. Now, during the day, MEJT said this drop was false, and that's retraced. Said this rally was false, that retraced, so we have closed right at the support level. We have an ultimate buy and an ultimate sell signal from the afternoon. The ultimate sell's already played out. The ultimate buy gave us just the minimum. Almost always, by the time the next day, tomorrow, Thursday's over, you're going to get more than the minimum. So almost always you're going to overtake this high tomorrow. It's not a requirement, but it happens the vast majority of the time. Also, when this high is over the early high, almost always you're going to close near the high. Now remember, tomorrow's open can substitute for today's close. So this isn't near the high, but if we open up here, all is forgiven. There's also a wall into the close, meaning it's panic selling most of the time. So all these things are arguing for gapping up tomorrow, overtaking this high, even though it's not a requirement, and even though futures are down as I'm recording this. Now, none of that means you have to close higher, but it's a number of signs that this rally is not over yet, even though I think we're heading lower before the drop's over. That doesn't mean we drop every day, and there's a good chance, not a guarantee, we're going to gap tomorrow and overtake this high. Doesn't mean you close higher. Thursday's pattern has the early high regardless of where we open. The pattern often is not clear. Today's normally bullish pattern didn't close near the high of the day, but if we gap and promptly overtake the high of the day, that deficiency is corrected. The midday high was over the early high. That's not what's normally seen in the straight line drop pattern, and neither is a close so far over the low of day. Don't forget, we're holding over that support line that we showed. Gapping and promptly undercutting the low of day, that rectifies that. We gap under this, that everything else goes out of the window. So the odds are going to favor a gap and prompt move outside today's range tomorrow with a little tolerance. I mean, if you're not completely out of it, but close to it, that's good enough. Now, a number of factors argue for that move being higher. If an Nasdaq-McClellan oscillator has reversed through its Bollinger Band, that gives a buy signal. There's a wall into the close, and that's often panic selling. The ultimate buy signal usually delivers more than it has so far. And don't forget, we also have the midday high over the early high. None of this requires a higher close. It just suggests we're going to gap up even though futures are lower as I write this. Now, I'm not going to be able to trade tomorrow. I'm not risking my own money on this call. I do think the pattern justifies closing out a short position overnight. Realize you might miss a trade. I don't think the drop's over. It's not strong enough for me to hold a long overnight, though. I don't do that very much anyway, and I don't like holding positions overnight when I think we're going much lower before the correction takes us much higher. But as far as tomorrow is concerned, it's more likely than not a guarantee, but more likely than not, that even though futures are down, that we're going to gap and overtake this high. Now, what happens after that, I don't know. I have a suspicion, but I don't want to say too much. The only thing I have confidence in is it's more likely than not that we're going to gap up and take this out. And again, if we're opening down here, just forget everything I said. That's not going to happen because the odds are pretty good we're going to gap one way or the other. But even though futures are down, it's more likely than not the gap's going to be up. And if it isn't, I'm not recommending taking a position. But I am saying closing out short positions has justification. It's the pattern tomorrow with an early high, often irregular, often you can read it either way, and that's today's call.